Toyota Prius? Why has the Toyota Prius been the #1 selling hybrid car for years now? Why do people buy a Toyota Prius? They buy a Toyota Prius for several reasons. One, low carbon footprint. It's green. It's a green car, saves energy. Two, you save gas. That's one of the main. I mean, obviously the main motivation in buying a hybrid is great fuel economy. And the reason they buy the Prius is because it is the well-known, established, extremely reliable platform for hybrid technology. This has been the torchbearer, the standard in the industry for hybrid technology for going on 10 years now. Toyota's led the way as far as hybrid technology goes. So what's new? Toyota's launched several new vehicles over the course of the last year. We've had the standard Prius since 2001. Now we have the Prius V, which is a larger, more comfortable version of the Prius, a little more versatile. We have the new Prius C, which is a smaller, sportier, higher fuel economy version of the Prius. And now we're launching the Toyota Prius plug-in hybrid. A little background on the Prius. Well over 1 million Priuses have now been sold in the United States. They estimate versus the average driver, Prius owners in this country have saved $2.5 billion in gasoline since the launch of the Toyota Prius. Another study I read about actually stated that if everybody in the United States drove a Toyota Prius, we would be 70 to 80% less dependent on foreign oil. So if you want to know why to drive a Prius, there's your reasons. But what's new is we got the new plug-in Prius. You can see right here we got a plug hanging out of the back of it. So how's it different? What's it do different than a regular Prius? You walk up, you take a look at the window sticker. There were 3 things that jumped out at me. The first thing is you see right here, 95 mpge. mpge stands for miles per gallon equivalent. What that is it's the efficiency, it's the cost, how you compare the cost of driving on a gallon of gas versus the electricity it takes to charge this car. They rated it at $3.79 a gallon in comparison to 12 cents a kilowatt hour of energy. This car is going to average 95 miles on that $3.79, okay? Thing that's different, right now we're not paying quite $3.80 a gallon, we're at $3.50, $3.60 something, but more importantly, they rated it 12 cents a kilowatt hour, which around here you sign up on a budget, it's actually, you're gonna pay close to 7 cents a kilowatt hour, which means the MPGE on this car in this area is actually closer right now, right this second, to about 140, 150 miles per $3.79 you spend on a gallon of gas. Now think about that. You can basically go 3 times the distance for the same cost. So how's that work? What's new is in the underneath back here where they store the battery housing for the vehicle, they replaced the nickel metal hydride batteries with a set of lithium-ion battery cells. The new lithium ions will hold 4.4 kilowatt hours of energy, which is almost 3 times larger than what they could hold before. So what that allows you to do, plug in, charge the vehicle up, you can actually go somewhere between 11 and 15 miles at somewhere between 50 and 60 mile an hour and not use any gas. The engine will never kick on. Takes about 3 hours to charge on a standard 110 plug-in. There is an optional aftermarket 220 charging station that you can buy through a company called Leviathan. It's an aftermarket product only. We do not offer it. But if you go to Toyota.com, research the plug-in hybrid, there's a link directly on the page telling you where to go and get it. It's about $1,000 plus any additional installation that's necessary, depending on where you want to hang it, where you want to put it. Some interesting facts about this. In the new PHV class, which is your plug-in hybrid vehicle class of cars, there's really only a few competitors right now. Chevy Volt, Nissan Leaf. Comparison-wise, the 3-hour charge on a standard outlet, it's about 8 hours to charge a Nissan Leaf. It's about 10 hours to charge a Chevy Volt. So if you want to talk about what's practical and what's easy, it's most people, once you've parked your car, you're there for 3 hours. I mean, whether you go home, whether you go to work, wherever you go, you're parking the car for 3 hours, you plug it in, you have a full charge when you go to leave the next time. Also, when you step back over here, what I found to be the most crucial part of this car, which is truly going to separate it from the other cars in that PHV class, is the 50 miles a gallon. If you look, once you've drained that 11 to 15 mile cruising range, it flips over and it's a Toyota Prius. It's a 50 mile a gallon car that's going to be extremely fuel efficient. When you fill up your gas tank and you fill up and you put a full charge on the batteries, your cruising range in this car is about 550 miles. If you take that and compare it to its competitors, Nissan Leaf, once this part runs out, you either need to plug it in or call a tow truck. Okay, there's no backup system that runs on gas. If you compare it to a Chevy Volt does a good job, good charge, runs a while, but once it diverts down, it's now a 32 to 36 mile a gallon car. That car has a range of about 380 miles. So you can see there's a substantial difference between the lower range. Not only that, over 3 times the charge time. This is going to be your most convenient plug-in car to own, because not only is it going to give you an 11 to 15 mile trip without using any gas, which if I look around this room, most of us don't go farther than that to get to work. Most of us don't go farther than that to get to the store. Most of us don't go farther than that to get anywhere we go on a daily basis. So that, along with the lower charge times, is going to make this a convenient vehicle to own. The next thing that really stood out at me is, if you look, purchase price of $33,121. This car is thousands of dollars less than its nearest competitor. Thousands of dollars less. Now, Toyota does offer it in 2 trim levels. This is the standard version, which comes in at $33,121. They also are going to offer what they call the Prius Plug-in Advanced, which will give you a handful of extra features. You'll have leather seats, you'll have soft tech leather seats, you'll have front fog lights, you'll have dynamic radar cruise, an upgrade on the stereo. And when you get that car, you're going to come in closer to the competitors' prices, right around the $39,000 range. As far as the charging goes, what I found interesting about the car, I took it home, I drove it, I used about half the charge, I plugged it in, no inconvenience whatsoever. Like I mentioned earlier, if you want to increase your charge time with the 240 system, it'll charge in about an hour and a half. The competitors have those systems available also at almost double the cost of what our system's going to cost, as an added benefit for quicker charging times. And then, as far as some other stuff they did that's new on the car, as far as the overall drivetrain of the vehicle, it's still the Toyota Synergy drive. You still have your same 1.8 liter 4-cylinder engine. You still have the hybrid Synergy drive system. It's not going to operate or drive any different than what we're used to out of a Toyota Prius. I actually, when I drove it in this morning, I found myself slightly surprised, because keeping up with the flow of traffic, not a problem. Going 50 mile an hour down East Town Road with a pickup truck next to me, it actually made me chuckle to myself, because I'm not using any gas. Okay? So that's the benefit in this car. You're eliminating your dependency on gas most of the time, but if you want to take a long trip, if you want to go on vacation, you want to go to Florida, 550 miles on a tank of gas ain't bad. Matter of fact, it's real good. Some other things that are new for the plug-in car, they have a specific design alloy wheel, which will only come on the hybrid cars. You'll see they designate with the gray handles as opposed to the color keyed handles that we typically see on the Prius, as well as specific badging that actually labels it as a plug-in hybrid. Not to mention the separate gas door that plugs in. So, some new stuff on the inside of the vehicle. They've done some what I thought were very creative and innovative things to make owning the plug-in more enjoyable. Some new features. You'll see heated seats on cloth seats. First time we've seen this with Toyota. The heated seats are standard on plug-in hybrid. N-Tune radio with navigation and smartphone connectivity is also going to be standard on plug-in. A couple things on that. They are adding some features to the Entune system and the Entune application, smartphone application, that coincides with the plug-in Prius. It'll designate charging stations along your map, gas stations that offer electricity plug-in along your map, to allow you to plan a trip the same way you would looking for regular gas stations. You can look where you can actually charge up when you take it when you stop somewhere. They've also added a new screen in the MID display, which has always housed information as far as where the car is drawing its energy from, where it's getting, what your fuel economy is for every minute you drive the car, what your fuel economy is on a trip, so on and so forth. They've added a new screen that will show you, well, a new part of the screen which will show you how much farther you have to go on the electrical charge. When I drove that in this morning, I reset the trip timer and I followed it. It was very interesting because it's almost dead on. If you're driving in average conditions, not steep hills, not dramatic temperatures, that thing is almost exact. There's also a new screen that while you're charging the car, you can turn the car on. It will show you percentage of charge, how far along you are, how long you have until the car is fully charged. And there's also a timer you can set to actively program when you want the charging to start and stop, whether it be overnight, whether it be when you get home, whatever. The thing that I found most surprising about the vehicle, when you go around it, those of us that are familiar with the Toyota Prius know that it's been a wonderful, wonderful vehicle for a long time. They know that they're easy to drive, easy to own, they're low maintenance. That's not different on this car. It is a Toyota Prius. It's just a Toyota Prius that on an electrical charge can go 15 miles, not use any gas. It's just a Prius that's got some enhanced features to make it easier to own and more economical. So, the biggest thing I would tell you is when you drive this car, be aware that it's still seamless just like it's always been. When you go down the road, if you're running in the electric vehicle mode and you mash down on the accelerator to go around a semi-truck, it's going to kick the gas engine on to make sure you've got enough power. And then as soon as you go back down to a coasting speed, gas engine will kick back off. They make sure that it's a completely non-intrusive system, just a very effective system. So the reason people will buy this car in that plug-in hybrid vehicle segment, it all goes back to what I was saying. You're not only going to get a car that saves gas, you're not only going to get a car that's as green gets, but you're also getting a Toyota Prius, which has been the mainstay in the class for years and years, and most importantly is one of the most reliable vehicles we sell. So you're going to get the benefits of the plug-in, but you're also going to get the reliability that we're used to with the Toyota Prius.